Debt Verdict, DV-0118. Title: 90% of credit card lawsuits in NYC were flawed. Formula: expose. Duration: 11 min. Tags: credit card lawsuits, default judgment, sewer service, court system abuse. A New York City civil court judge decided to do something unusual. Instead of rubber stamping the credit card collection cases flooding his docket, he actually read them. What he found was disturbing. 90% of the credit card lawsuits in his courtroom had fundamental legal flaws. Missing documents, fabricated service records, debts attributed to the wrong people, cases built on nothing but a spreadsheet and a prayer. And the worst part? Almost none of the defendants ever showed up to fight back. This is the story of a broken system, one that uses America's courts to extract billions of dollars from people who often don't even know they've been sued. Every year, credit card companies and the debt buyers who purchase their delinquent accounts file millions of lawsuits across the United States. The exact number is difficult to pin down because many jurisdictions don't track them separately, but the best estimates place the figure between 10 and 15 million debt collection lawsuits filed annually. The vast majority end the same way: default judgment. A default judgment means the defendant didn't respond, didn't show up, didn't file an answer with the court, and in the American legal system, silence is treated as admission. If you don't contest a lawsuit, the court assumes the plaintiff is right, and judgment is entered against you. According to court records from New York City civil courts between 2019 and 2023, defendants responded to debt collection lawsuits in only 5 to 9% of cases. That means that 91 to 95% of the time, the person being sued simply never appeared. The collection industry calls this efficiency. Critics call it something else entirely, because the question nobody was asking until one judge started looking was whether these people actually knew they'd been sued in the first place. The legal term is service of process. Before a court can exercise jurisdiction over a defendant, that defendant must be formally notified of the lawsuit. In New York, this typically means a process server, a person licensed by the state, must physically deliver the legal papers to the defendant or to someone at their residence. It's a constitutional requirement. The 14th Amendment guarantees due process, and due process begins with notice. You cannot be judged by a court that never told you it was judging you. But in the world of high-volume debt collection, proper service became an inconvenience. The practice became known as sewer service, named for the idea that process servers were dumping legal papers down the sewer instead of delivering them. The term dates back to the 1970s, but the practice never went away. It evolved. Here's how it worked in practice. A debt buyer purchases a portfolio of defaulted credit card accounts, often for 3 to 5 cents on the dollar. A $10,000 debt is purchased for $300 to $500. The debt buyer then files lawsuits against every debtor in the portfolio, sometimes hundreds or thousands of cases at once. To serve each defendant, the debt buyer hires a process serving company, usually the cheapest one available. The process server is supposed to visit each defendant's address, confirm their identity, and hand them the papers. But the economics don't work. Process servers are often paid between $15 and $40 per serve. When you're handling hundreds of serves per day across a sprawling city like New York, there's an overwhelming incentive to cut corners. So they did. According to court documents, they filed affidavits of service, sworn statements, claiming they'd delivered the papers. Many of these affidavits contained false addresses, physical descriptions that didn't match the defendant, or delivery times that were physically impossible given the server's documented locations that day. The papers were never delivered. The defendants never knew they were being sued. And when they didn't show up to court because they didn't know there was a court date, the debt buyer won by default. The judge who pulled back the curtain was not the first to notice the problem, but his findings crystallized what advocates had been saying for years. When he began scrutinizing the filings in his courtroom, the deficiencies were overwhelming. According to court records, affidavits of service contained identical language across hundreds of cases, clear signs of mass production rather than individualized service. cases where the debt buyer couldn't produce the original credit card agreement, cases where the amount claimed didn't match any documentation on file.